From the Detroit Free Press, it's Tuesday, October 27th. Here are today's top stories, presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Calling all foodies, Bush's is hiring. Are you passionate about food, looking for growth, development, and excellent wages? Come grow with Bush's and apply online at bushes.com/join our team. That's Bush's, BUSCHS.com/join our team.
I'm Adrienne Roberts reporting for the Detroit Free Press. The pandemic has led to widespread job losses in Michigan. Last month, the unemployment rate was nearly 9%, and that's about what it's been since July. Employment levels in the state are 300,000 below what they were in February. But it's not all bad news. There are certain industries that were poised for growth before the pandemic, and rapidly changing consumer behavior has ultimately led to hiring. As more people have turned to online shopping, Amazon is growing, with 3,500 open positions in Michigan. Another less mainstream example is the recreational cannabis industry. A staffing company in that industry said jobs in cultivation and processing require a similar skill set as many manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing was one of the hardest hit industries in Michigan by the pandemic in terms of job losses, only behind hospitality and leisure.
For the Detroit Free Press, I'm Kristen Seamus with a story from Mackinac Island, which is seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases among residents and workers as the tourism season comes to an end. Cases of the novel coronavirus rose sharply in September and October on the 3.8 square mile island that has just 500 year-round residents. The spike came as business owners closed out the season and tourists crossed the Straits of Mackinac last weekend to take in the fall colors and sink their teeth into its famous fudge for one last time in 2020. From September 23rd to October 11th, there were 29 newly confirmed cases of COVID-19 tied to the island. But that number surged to 53 cases by Friday, an 82% increase in just 12 days, said Carrie Ott, a spokeswoman for the LMAS District Health Department. That district includes Luce, Mackinac, Alger, and Schoolcraft counties. The virus, she said, is spreading among the permanent and seasonal residents of the island, as well as employees of the shops, restaurants, bars, and hotels. Those cases have led to quarantines for workers who had been in close contact with confirmed COVID-19 cases, and it forced some businesses to close early. No specific outbreak source has been identified on Mackinac Island, and it comes as caseloads surge across the state and country, and hospitalizations begin to swell again.
I'm Frank Witzel with the Detroit Free Press. An instructor pilot from Michigan and a student aviator from North Carolina were killed Friday in a fiery crash when a training flight went down in an Alabama neighborhood and set a house on fire. U.S. Navy Lieutenant Rihanna Ross, age 30 of Wixom, and Coast Guard Ensign Morgan Garrett, age 24 of Weddington, North Carolina, were flying a U.S. Navy T-6B Texan II trainer aircraft. No civilians were injured, and the cause of the crash is still under investigation. The Navy saluted the two women's spirit, friendship, and devotion to their country, adding, "It will not be forgotten." Ross and Garrett took off from the Naval Air Station, Whittington Field in Milton, Florida, on what the Navy called a routine training flight. Ross had been a member of the University of Michigan's ROTC program. She served 3 years with Helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 26 out of Norfolk, Virginia, before joining Florida-based Training Squadron 2 in 2018. On Monday, her Facebook page had been switched to a memorial setting.
I'm David Jesse, the higher education reporter for the Detroit Free Press. The small Michigan and Indiana colleges that make up the Michigan Intercollegiate Athletic Association spent the summer debating whether to play football this fall. They decided there would be no conference games. But the decision wasn't unanimous and featured lengthy arguments among the presidents. There also were charges of some colleges attempting to steal athletes from other schools, and there was a conference split. 2 conference schools are playing football now. A handful are playing sports which don't require close contact, and some are just practicing. Athletes make up a large share of students at the MIAA schools. They don't get full ride scholarships. Athletes must pay at least some tuition. That means attracting athletes is vital to a school's bottom line. It's another reminder that even at the smallest colleges, athletics is often as much about the money as it is the competition.
I'm Kirkland Crawford with the Free Press Sports Department and an update from Michigan State Week. Yes, the Big Ten season is just one game old, but this Saturday, the Wolverines and Spartans will meet at the Big House in Ann Arbor. On Monday, Michigan's coach and players addressed the media and mostly stayed out of the way when it comes to bulletin board material. Jim Harbaugh said that he didn't expect the Spartans to turn the ball over 7 times this Saturday, like they did in their home loss to Rutgers last week. Something else to watch for this week, both quarterbacks, Michigan State's Rocky Lombardi and Michigan's Joe Milton, both will be making their first starts in this rivalry. And it'll be the first time Mel Tucker enters this rivalry as head coach. The Spartans' boss addresses the media today to try to explain what happened against Rutgers and how they'll get ready for the Wolverines.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.